Have you ever wondered, is the sacrifice of the Mass really the same as the sacrifice of Jesus on the cross? It's one of the most beautiful, yet most misunderstood truths of our Catholic faith. Today, we're going to walk through the mystery, and I promise, by the end of this video, you'll never see the Mass the same way again. When we speak of this sacrifice of the cross and the sacrifice of the Mass, we are not talking about two different sacrifices. They are one and the same sacrifice, offered once for all on Calvary and made present to us in every Massachusetts. But there is one key difference. On the cross, Christ shed his blood in a bloody sacrifice. In the Mass, he offers himself again in an unbloody manner. Think of it this way. The Mass is not a re-crucifixion of Jesus. He can never die again. Instead, at the altar, the one eternal sacrifice of Calvary is made present to us, here and now. On Good Friday, Christ endured real, physical suffering. His blood was poured out. His life was taken, and with his dying breath he said, "It is finished." At every Mass, that same Jesus is truly present, body, blood, soul, and divinity, but without the physical pain and death. Why? Because Jesus is now risen and glorified. The sacrifice is represented, not repeated. Here's another difference. On the cross, Christ alone offered himself directly. In the Mass, Christ still offers himself, but through the hands of the priest. The priest is a secondary but true minister, acting in persona Christi, in the person of Christ. When the priest says the words of consecration, it is Jesus himself who offers the sacrifice to the Father. On Calvary, Jesus earned for us the merits of our salvation. He paid the full price for our redemption. In the Mass, those same merits are applied to us personally. Think of it like this. On the cross, the bank account of grace was filled for all humanity. At every Mass, we draw from that account and receive those graces into our own lives. The Church celebrates the Mass in several forms. Solemn Mass, celebrated with a priest, deacon, and subdeacon. High Mass, the priest sings parts of the Massachusetts Low Mass. The Mass is spoken, not sung. Pontifical Mass, celebrated by a bishop or certain prelates. Any of these can be a Requiem Mass, offered for the souls of the departed. In a Requiem Mass, the priest wears black vestments and prays special prayers for the dead. Some prayers of the Mass are always the same. This is called the ordinary. Others change depending on the feast or liturgical season. This is called the proper. This rhythm keeps the Mass both familiar and alive. The heart of worship remains constant, but the Church's year adds color, depth, and variety. Ordinarily, Mass must be offered on a consecrated altar stone, blessed by a bishop or his delegate. This reminds us that the altar is not just a table. It is a sacred place of sacrifice, where heaven and earth meet. The vestments worn by the priest are rich in symbolism. Alb, white linen garment, symbolizing purity. Amice, cloth around shoulders, representing the helmet of salvation. Cincture, cord tied at the waist, symbolizing chastity. Stole, long band of cloth, symbolizing priestly authority. Chasuble, outer garment, symbolizing charity that covers all. These garments date back to the time of the apostles and connect us to the Church's earliest worship. The Church uses different colors for different seasons and feasts. White, purity, worn on feasts of our Lord, Our Lady, and saints who were not martyrs. Red, blood and love, used on Pentecost, Palm Sunday, Good Friday, and feasts of martyrs. Green, hope, worn on Sundays outside major seasons. Violet, penance, worn in Advent and Lent. Black, mourning for masses of the dead. Rose, joy in the midst of penance on Gaudete and Laetare Sundays. Gold, solemnity, used on great feasts. Some of the most important items used at Mass include chalice, the precious cup for the precious blood. Paten, plate for the host. Purificator, cloth for wiping the chalice. Pall, square cover for the chalice. Corporal, square cloth on which the host is placed. Missal, the prayer book for the priest. Candles, usually beeswax, symbolizing Christ the light. Crucifix, the reminder that this is the same sacrifice as Calvary. The sacrifice of the cross and the sacrifice of the Mass are inseparably linked. The cross was the one, perfect, once-for-all act of love. The Mass is the way we, here and now, are brought into that same act of love. Every time you attend Mass, you are standing at the foot of the cross, not as a spectator, but as a participant. The same Jesus who hung on Calvary is present on the altar, offering himself for you. The next time you go to Mass, remember, this is not just a prayer service. This is Calvary made present. This is heaven touching earth. This is the greatest gift God has given us. If this video deepened your understanding of the Mass, please share it, subscribe to Catholic Prayer TV, and let's continue to grow together in love for our Lord.